Welcome everyone to the Charts of the Day video for April 16th, 2019. For today's video, I wanted to take a look at cannabis stocks. April 20th is a fairly widely celebrated holiday in cannabis culture, and with that date approaching, I thought it would be a good time to revisit some of these charts. So I'm going to start off with the Horizons Marijuana Life Sciences ETF, which is a good general gauge of the overall stocks, mostly that are traded on the Toronto Exchange, but we have many of them listed on the NYSE as well. But we've been tracking this possible impulse up from the December low, which looks like it completed here in February. Then we got the initial drop as a A-wave, the move up to the more recent high in March as a three-wave move, being wave B of an expanded flat, and price now filling out wave C. So the fact actually that we got an expanded flat here is positive going forward, one, because it suggests that this was not a terminal top, and two, because when you see an expanded flat, especially within a wave 2 position, it typically suggests a powerful or possibly even extended third wave to follow. So based on the length of our wave 1 here, the 382 to 618 retrace, which we typically look for as a target support for pullback as wave 2, sits between 1850 and 1640 roughly. So we're still shy of reaching that, but at the very least, the minimum expectations for wave C have actually been met. So it's not out of the question, especially with price about to retest the 200-day moving average, that we do not get as deep as the 382 to 618 and instead turn up sooner than that. And that's because we've hit at least a measured move and even beyond that in relation to the size of wave A, which is typically the minimum target for a C wave. So although it's ideal for us to come a little bit deeper here into the 382 to 618 retrace region, just recognize the possibility of potentially bottoming sooner than that. And any break back above 22 is your signal level that wave C of 2 has likely completed. And if we see a nice third wave to the upside, based on the size of the larger degree possible 1, 2 here, that can take us up to the 1, 2, 3, 6 extension for wave 3 of 3, which would be just underneath 55. So decent amount of upside potential there. All right, let's take a look at some of the major players in this area, starting with Canopy Growth. I'm going to go over mostly the NYSE charts here. So you can either trade the Toronto listed ones if you want, or the NYSE listed ones. They should be relatively similar in their price patterns. Taking a look at Canopy Growth, after that impulsive move that we got off the December low, similar to that move up on HMMJ, we were looking for a consolidation back to the 382 to 618 retrace. In this case is a B wave within a fifth of a ending diagonal C. So a little bit different pattern here, but still some decent upside to be seen if we can hold support here between around 39.40 and 33.25. So price is just now testing the upper end of that target support. Similar to HMMJ, it does have room for deeper down to that 618 retrace if it wants. But we have a nice potential A, B wave triangle here, and then C that can be considered complete if we begin to turn back up and take out 48.75 as our signal level of that C wave up. And that should be heading up to the 70 to 80 region. If we get a nice successful breakout there. Another big player that we've been tracking is Kronos Group, which back when we hit that high in February, we were calling for a top as wave 3 and looking for a pullback and consolidation as a fourth wave. Based on that third hitting a 1382 extension within a diagonal structure, which is kind of similar to the count on CGC, the fourth typically comes back to at least a 786, and that is at 1424. So getting pretty close to that. Possible it comes a little bit shy of that target support, but that would be the ideal place for price to attempt the next bottom and turn back up towards the 38 to 45 region as wave 5 of C. Another larger name is Hexo Corp. This one is actually, whoops. Let me take a look at CTST first, then I'll come back to Hexo. I just want to look at this one because I like the pattern on this chart a little bit more than on Hexo. It's a little bit cleaner, but it's very similar to Hexo, so I thought we would take a look at this one first, just so you get an idea of the potential that matches this chart on Hexo. So, assuming the data that we have here, which is actually not present on the Toronto listed version of CanTrust, assuming this is accurate, this data that we have, which may have been from an OTC market or something like that, but we have a possible larger degree primary wave 1, and what really stands out here, though, is the expanded flat since the high that was hit in January of last year. This A wave down, clear 3-wave move into the October high here is a B wave, and then a nice 5 back down as wave C for this expanded flat. Since the low that was hit in December, we have another nice impulse up, and that same ABC expanded flat again as a possible wave 2. So here we're actually into the target region, the standard 382 to 618 retrace that we typically look for a wave 2 pullback, right now just above the 50%. So it does have room down to $6, but ideally doesn't get any deeper than that on this pullback in order to set up the next move higher as a possible wave 3 of 3. So once we do bottom, we'll use more conservative fibs based on the size of this one too, which could lower our target a little bit, but based on the possible large degree 1-2 here, the ideal target for wave 3 of 3 is up at 2638. So that's what we're watching for, possible target on a breakout on this chart. So let's go back to Hexo. So we have that same possible setup here, in this case just a running flat, since we got that move up into the January 2018 high, and then this 3-wave move is possible B wave, and then wave C did not come back down to the ending point of the A wave, so that's why I mentioned a running flat potential there. But the same possible primary degree 1 and 2 exists on this chart. Since that December low, nice impulsive move to the upside. It's even possible here that wave 2 has already completed, and this is a 1-2 start to the 3rd wave. But assuming the same expanded or running flat for wave 2, it's possibly come a little bit deeper, back into the 5, maybe even upper $4 region, which is where the 200-day moving average is, and then turn up with an ideal target for wave 3 of 3 on this chart, just underneath $15. Some other names to look at, ACB. This one I don't have as much confidence in a nice continuation to the upside. One of the reasons being that zooming out here, I can actually get 5 waves up complete into that same January 2018 high. And you don't have really the same clear flat structure for wave 2 as you do on some of the other charts. It's possible to count this move up as 5 waves, but again, I just don't have as much confidence on this chart and can easily make a case for either this triangle path playing out in red that fades further in this E wave, or if we drift a little bit higher, maybe this wave C of a larger B that then turns back down from there. So I'm not ruling out something more bullish here, just seems to be a lot more confident of a setup on some of those other charts. And then finally, TLRY is another big player in the name. This was that stock that everyone was really excited about into that high that we saw in January, or sorry, I guess in this case it was actually September of last year. Came on the exchange a little bit later than a lot of other names, but basically has been in a corrective pullback since. Very volatile stock, so pretty large percentage moves here. But we've been tracking this A, B, and then ending diagonal C wave since we put in that top, and we're looking for at least the 618 retrace to be reached before attempting a bottom in wave 5 of C. Price has since started to push past that support. It is still, for now, holding positive divergence, at least on the MACD here, but hasn't really given us a clear indication of a bottom in place. It's another one that I'm not quite as thrilled about until at least we see a better indication of a bottom, and in the case of this chart, it certainly could only be an A wave down. And even though we get a nice bounce and move up in to coincide with those moves on other charts, perhaps just a corrective B wave here. Other than that, we're tracking a lot of other names, cannabis names, in our stock waves room that I'm sure many of you have seen already, including one of our favorites, NBEV, which we see a lot of great potential in as well, but we can save that for another time. Otherwise, that's all I had, and see you guys again next time.